Yo, yo, hey, what's going on? Right, all right. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Cash Media. I hope you guys had a good Saturday today. You guys were tapping into the NBA playoffs today, which is the first day of the first round. Right, so a lot of competitive. Today we saw a lot of good games today. So in Lakers and the Nuggets just finished not too long ago, so I just felt like wrapping something up, giving some oversight about what I seen today. Right, so let's start off with the game that just finished. I was going for the Lakers, of course. I'm a Laker, giving my insight on the game. It was a good game it was a good game overall. Finish, very competitive. As soon as the Nuggets started to pull away with the lead, Lakers couldn't seem to back on Ron and Anthony. They had somewhat of a good night, I would say, especially in the first quarter, third quarter, back in the and sorry, I'm having a little brain fart. But let's tap into this rivalry. Some people been like 490. So just off the bat, right there's it's not a surprise with coming in as the seventh seed and against the number, which could have been the best team in the league, or the best team in the West. Some may. Last time they beat this team was December 16th, 2022, right? 2022 in Los Angeles. So Anthony Davis in that game, Anthony Davis exited early, injuring his right foot in the first half, and then Russell Westbrook posted a triple double, and Los Angeles started with three small guards: Lonnie Walker, Patrick, 12 and 16, a Western Conference Finals run. Seemed like a far fetched Lakers group. A lot has changed since, you know, roster changes. Lakers remade their roster at the start or at the 2023 trade deadline and went on to the conference finals, where the Nuggets swept them. Well, as you know, Lakers ran it back in the past summer with largely the same roster fringes, with the likes of Gabe Vincent, Torian Prince, Jackson Hayes. After a 24 and 25 starts, Lakers closed the season with 10 and defeated the New Orleans Pelicans in the 7 versus the number 8 play-in to earn a rematch with defending champions. One thing that hasn't changed, though, has been Denver's dominance over the Lakers, particularly number 2 Nuggets have won 8 straight games against the number 7 Lakers, 5 of those games being decided final 5 minutes of the game. Denver enters the first round matchup as heavy favorites. Many of the Lakers would be lucky to get the game, but the Lakers are confident in their chances of pulling off the unthinkable. They've won 12 out of the last 15 games, they're healthiest they've ever been. They've seemed to develop an elite offense that should be able to shot for shot, at least, for a stretch. Nuggets last beat the Lakers 6 weeks ago, just as the Los Angeles rounding into form, forging its identity from the Lakers' vintage point. The Nuggets haven't seen this version of Los Angeles yet. And I'm quoting Darvin Ham here. It's back at 0-0. Lakers coach Darvin Ham said Tuesday in New Orleans, obviously, they've had a ton of success against our ball club, but there's always going. Hey, right? So, first game only today, Saturday, April 20th. Right? And if you compare these teams stat for stat, like, you can see how the Lakers are heavy underdogs in this matchup. Even just looking at the game today, right? LeBron and Anthony Davis were attacking. They were off to a hot start. But the things to really point out here with the Lakers is the fact that all club, the help wasn't necessarily coming up in this game, particularly Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, right? Like, if you had some more productivity from these guys, there could have been a chance that this game could have been a lot closer, at least down the stretch. Now, I'm not going to say that they would have won the game. I don't, because looking at the momentum and how things were going, Lakers were, they weren't able to get consistent stops against the Denver Nuggets. My thing about it is they were just leaving so many guys open at the perimeter, right? I mean, I understand the defensive tenacity and trying to switch off and trying to make sure that you're giving one of your teammates some help with somebody clearly going to have the intention get to the rim or make a play. But a lot of the time, I was seeing Michael Porter Jr. open at the perimeter, KCP knocking down 3-point shots. Right? So a lot of the time when these guys were switching off from their defensive assignments, they were leaving guys that shouldn't have been open at the perimeter. Right? Like, understand that the Denver Nuggets are one of the best 3-point shooting teams. Right? And then when they're off, especially when it comes down to the fourth quarter. The Denver Nuggets are one of the best fourth quarter teams in the league. Right? So there's a lot to take away from this loss. Or if you're the Nuggets, there's a lot to key off on with this win. But, I mean, if you're the Denver Nuggets, you don't really have too much to worry about. You just have to play your game, be smart with the ball. It's the same ordeal time and time again. So Nuggets take the first game in Denver. Next game that we're going to see here between these two teams again is going to be Monday on the 22nd at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to wait to see that, right? Now, who am I going to pick that game? I'm going to wait a little bit after, probably tomorrow, to talk about my predictions for the games coming up for this weekend or for week coming up. Let's tap into some other games, right? Because there were definitely some other games to tap into, particularly one of the biggest matchups first round are the Knicks and the Sixers. Nope. Okay. So this game against the Sixers and the Knicks, right? So it was a great game from start to finish. I mean, I can arguably say 3 out of the 4 games that were played today highly competitive, with the exception of Minnesota and Phoenix game, but into that bit. But while this Knicks star, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, both scored 22 points, it was truly a game dominated by unexpected heroes. The Madison Square Garden crowd found a new chant celebrating Deuce McBride's standout performance. Knicks showcased their depth and resilience. Deuce McBride emerged as the game's X factor, pouring in 21 points and leading a crucial second quarter surge. This unexpected boost from the bench included contributions from Bogdan Bogdanovich. I'm sorry if I had a mishap with the name here. And Mitchell Robinson underscored a key narrative. The Knicks' bench depth might just be the secret weapon this postseason. The Knicks overcame their recent history of home game one losses through collective, saw their reserves outperform expectations. Bride's performance was particularly noticeable for outscoring the entire 76ers team in the second quarter. This game highlighted how crucial bench players can be in shifting the momentum of the playoff series. As the Knicks prepared for game two, maintaining the high level of bench contribution will be essential for the 76ers. Adjustments might include finding a way to limit the impact of Knicks reserves and ensuring Joel can stay healthy and effective throughout the game. Right? So the victory sets a compelling tone for the series, with the Knicks proving that they can lean on their depth when needed. Can the 76ers regroup and counter in game two? Will the New York Knicks bench continue to make a difference? Keep following Cash Media for a deeper analysis and updates about the playoffs, right? So, in this game, honestly, right, going into this game, Jalen Brunson was having one hell of a season, and even in the second half, he was averaging damn near 38 points. This guy was cooking, and mind you, this is without Julius Randle, right? But then OG Anunoby coming back, and whenever he's in the starting lineup, they're 20-3, I believe, him in the starting lineup, and a lot of his contributions come from the defensive side of the ball, right? But every time Jalen Brunson was on the court, he had the ball being swarmed by 76ers player, ensuring that every shot going to be complicated shot, right? Like, so basically, you had a lot of opportunities for other players to emerge and capitalize on the opportunity, right? There were so many instances where Josh Hart was being left open, daring him to shoot, and he was knocking down most of his shots with confidence, right? Deuce McBride probably being the hero of this game, coming off the bench and contributing 20 points, was definitely the unlikely hero with the matchup. Then it still came down close late in this game. I mean, we're talking about 76ers being down at halftime, some scare with Joel Embiid, with him potentially re-injuring that knee, but there's no doubt about it that probably still having, lingering pain with that knee injury. So, God forbid, I hope everything does work out for Joel Embiid, because I don't like watching star players, or any player for the matter, get hurt in the playoffs, because it takes away from them, especially when you want to see Joel Embiid compete best, especially what he does during the regular season. He had played for at least 65 games this year. There's no doubt that he most likely would have been the leading scorer of this league, but that for Luka, but that's being saved for a conversation. Even though with Joel Embiid having that injury scare, he came back in the game in the third quarter, and the 76ers were able to pull out a lead at some point in the game. But unfortunately, right, the Knicks were able to come back, making some clutch 3-pointers, right? And everything just seemed to work out in their favor. Now, I don't think that this is a game that the Knicks should be, all too confident about, because, Jalen Brunson particularly did not play well. But, games like this, especially in the playoffs, you're going to need your guys come off the bench, or even guys who aren't typically your leading scorer most nights. They're going to have to come up do their thing whenever a lot of attention is going. So that's my thing, at least, or that's my assessment between the 76ers and the Knicks. But honestly, this is going to be a fun series. Not going to lie to you, I think it's going to be a really fun series. And I think it goes down to game seven, man. I have the Knicks, still pulling away by a hair in this series. Maybe taking it to game seven, but I mean, who knows, right? So I think this game does go to game seven, and I'll probably still give this series away to the Knicks with the way that they've been looking. Hopefully the Knicks can get past this round against the 76ers because it's just going to get tougher for me. But beating a team like the 76ers in the first round is just going to prove the tenacity of the New York Knicks. And they're going to be a whole lot more dangerous moving forward. They can pull out the series against the 76ers. So now, another game here that I was really shocked about the outcome was Phoenix Suns and the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? I think most people assumed that Phoenix Suns were going to easily pull away with a win in this first game, right? But that didn't seem to be the case. So we go over my notes and give you guys a quick breakdown. So setting up the stage at Target Center, Anthony Edwards led the charge with a 33-point performance, including a decisive 18-point burst in the third quarter. Timberwolves not only secured a 120-95 win, but also claimed the first game one win in the playoffs in 2 decades. Let me repeat that. That is the first game one home win in the playoffs under this Minnesota Timberwolves franchise past 2 decades, right? So that's a long one. So Edwards' energy was unmatched both on the court with his dynamic play and off, engaging the crowd and even engaging in a light-hearted exchange with Suns star Kevin Durant. Sorry about that. Edwards' energy was unmatched, both on the court with his dynamic play and off, engaging the crowd and even engaging in a lighthearted exchange with Suns star Kevin Durant. His performance was bolstered by Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, who dominated both scoring and rebounds, clearly outmatching the Suns. The game was highlighted several key factors for the Timberwolves' success: their defensive prowess, led by Gobert's shot altering presence, and their depth, which shone through a 41-18 scoring advantage from the bench over the Suns' reserves. Despite Durant's efficient scoring, the Suns struggled overall with poor shooting from key players like Devin Booker and injured Grayson Allen. Looking ahead to Game 2, Timberwolves will aim to maintain the defensive intensity and exploit their depth advantage further. Meanwhile, the Suns need to find creative ways to free up Booker and adjust their strategy, especially Allen's injury sideline. So here are some questions that I also brought in regards to this game. Was that what makes Anthony Edwards a key player for the Timberwolves? I mean, I know it's a simple question, but Edwards' ability to take over games with his scoring and infectious energy uplifts his team and the home crowd, making him a pivotal player in high-stakes game. That's very important, especially in the playoff. And not to mention, with the Timberwolves being a higher seed, at least for the moment, right? Playing at home, you got to take complete advantage of that sometimes. We know that you can lose a game here or there, but that's an advantage for you when you're playing on your home, right? How can the Suns counter Minnesota defensive strategies, right? I think that's an extremely important question in the series because, it seems as if the Suns do have a lot on their hands, right? I mean, Timberwolves were known as the top 3 teams when it comes down to the defensive side of the ball. And so the Suns may need to alter their offensive setups, possibly increasing ball movements and screens and create more open shots and obviously reduce turnovers. If you're turning over the ball in the playoff, right? And you're not getting boards. I mean, literally a recipe for failure in off. So my closing statement for this is Timberwolves has set a formidable tone for the series with this dominant performance. Can they maintain this momentum, or will the Suns adjust and strike back in game two? Keep tuning in, Cash Media, in-depth analysis and update playoffs. So, this is my point, at least with this series. I think this is probably one of the most important series in the playoffs. I think outside of the Lakers and Nuggets and Sixers and Knicks, Mavs and Clippers, right? Like, you know, because there's a lot of expectations with the Phoenix Suns, right? There's a lot brewing up on the shoulders of Kevin Durant, and even somebody like Devin Booker, and to some extent Bradley Beal, still viewed as some form of a superstar. I think he's within that category somewhat. So, the Phoenix Suns, they had a lot of expectations in the past 2 years, in the past years or so. And then when you have a team, any team with Kevin Durant on it, right? There's going to be expectations. And then so this wasn't a good look for the Phoenix Suns, opening up with this series and performing that. But then again, does this show how bad Phoenix Suns are, or did this reveal how good the Timberwolves are? Right? I know it might seem like a double ensemble. At the end of the day, man, like the Timberwolves, have been consistent, especially have been consistent on the defensive side of the ball. And then so now you're starting to see, especially this year with Anthony coming into his own and revealing himself, he is true superstar caliber. I'm really excited for this series. I can't wait to see game two. I can't wait to see how this series plays out. But let me know what you guys think about how this series is going to look. Honestly, even though some may shift towards the Phoenix Suns to pull out in this series, honestly, it would not surprise me if Minnesota Timberwolves pull out in this series. Okay, so because we know that the Phoenix Suns, even though they have star power, they're lacking depth, and having Grayson Allen potentially being out for the next game would definitely hurt them moving forward. Especially, I mean, he was leading the league in three point percentage this year, so that's a huge crush blow. So another game here, and possibly our last game, if I'm not mistaken, uh, was the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Orlando Magic. So the Orlando Magic haven't been in the play. I mean, probably since Dwight Howard, if I'm not mistaken. So let's set this up, man. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, led by Donovan Mitchell, have started their redemption journey with a decisive win over the Game 1 series. Just last season, the Cleveland Cavaliers experienced a disappointing first round exit. This year, they've returned with vengeance, and it showed with their gameplay against the Magic. Donovan Mitchell, who scored 30 points, and Jarrett Allen, with his impressive 18 boards, spearheaded the Cavs into an assertive 97-8 victory. Mitchell's performance was particularly notable considering his recent struggle with his left knee injury. Despite this, he proved he's still a formidable force on the court. Reflecting on his role in the team, "This is why I'm here," he stated, emphasizing his impact regarding a score. Here's my analysis. Game unfolded with the Cavaliers establishing dominance early on, showcasing their growth in mental and physical toughness. Their defensive efforts were evident as they held the Magic to just 33% shooting from the field. Evan Mobley and Darius Garland also made significant contributions, highlighting the depth and rejuvenated Cavs team. Looking ahead to game two, the Cavaliers will need to maintain their defensive intensity and capitalize on advantage, continued aggression from players like Mitchell, and strategic plays from coach JB Bickerstaff could be the key to take 2-0 series. Now, my biggest question in the series is what makes Donovan Mitchell such a key for the Cavs? Kind of obvious, right? I gotta stop right. But Mitchell's ability to perform under pressure and his scoring prowess makes him crucial in the Cavs' playoff success. How can the Magic adjust to bounce back in Game 2? The Magic need to improve their shooting accuracy, manage turnovers better, and find ways to counter Cleveland's tough defense. So here's my closing statement. As the series progresses, it will be interesting to see how both teams adjust and respond. The Cavaliers have set a high bar opening win, signaling their intent not to just participate, but to contend. Stay tuned, Cash Media. Follow us. All right, so I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it a lot. So even series like this, I mean, you want to see what these teams are built up, built up in with the Orlando Magic, particularly with Paolo Banchero, a young up and coming player, still, still fresh. Right, this is his first playoff appearance. So, the Orlando Magic, I don't even think they given the benefit of the doubt. They weren't even projected to be in the playoffs, right? But they did. They found a way. They do have some good players on that roster, but they need a little bit more, especially going up against a team like the Cavs, who are looking to compete. You have some fresh young guys, with a lot of energy, a lot of tenacity, and then they grab boards, they defend, and they can score, right? So Donovan Mitchell is just a sprinkle on the ice cream. You got to worry about Evan Mobley and Jared Allen down the post and crashing the glass. So, I mean, there's not really much I want to dive into in regards to this game because I think this is probably a potential 4-0 series. I'm not gonna lie to you. This would be tough for me to say that the Magic can pull out and win against the Cleveland Cavaliers, but nonetheless, though, it's still good to talk about. Still good to watch. I'm gonna tune in. So there you have it, though, man. So those are the games that popped up today, and that's my analysis for today. Guys, keep tapping in, keep showing love. Please subscribe and hit that like button. Give me some support. Free to to give a like to the video. We're gonna keep tapping in more and more as the NBA playoff series folds, or as the NBA playoffs unfold. There's gonna be a lot more to talk about, a lot more to chime into, a lot more insights, a lot more analysis. I can't wait for it. So have a good Saturday, guys. Love you guys. Remember, subscribe to Cash Media.